Hey you guys, it's Dani. Today we are doing a highly requested video of a walkthrough of Terra Volatile. You guys have been asking me since I posted up my deck bonding video with the deck interviews to do a review or walkthrough of Terra Volatile. So we are doing that today. As you can see, my poor little box is uber rickety because I have been shoving this into every bag and box that I bring around. So this is a tarot deck by, I'm gonna try. Credo Qui Absurdum. I'm sure that's not how you say it, but there we go. I'm gonna have a link as usual down below with that, as well as all of my other links to my Instagrams and Etsy, how to book a reading through Fat Readers, all that's gonna be down below. So make sure to check that out. And let's go ahead and take a look at this deck. Terra Volatile. You guys, I can't even lie, I am totally smitten with this deck. I really am. So thank you, Dustin from Modern Metaphysique, who convinced me that I needed this deck. He was totally right. So Terra Volatile has some really great information on their website, which is terravolatile.com. I believe it shows it here. Yes, terravolatile.com. About the deck, and it has kind of like a guidebook that's been started. The coins are not up yet, so they are waiting on the coins guide to get on there, which I'm really excited about because I love the way that they've set up this little guidebook, which I'll show you guys in a, once we're done, as we usually do. But I thought it was really interesting because they talked about the name, the Terra Volatile, how it is, Terra is earth, which is kind of a fixed thing, and then volatile in alchemy is something that's kind of ever-changing. So it's like the duality of it, like fixed and ever-changing, which I thought was really interesting. So just a basic tuck box, nothing too exciting really. We have some emblems, the name, and that's about it. Like I said, mine's a little beat up. I've been shoving it everywhere. So, I mean, a tuck box is a tuck box. I certainly don't mind. So here are the backs of the cards. Now, I know on the second edition, we do have a few little white specks and white spots on some of the cards. I didn't notice until they put out a statement about it. I don't care. Like, it really, like, I didn't notice, and if I don't stare at it, I don't even see it. So if that's something that kind of bothers you, I know their third edition, they're trying to fix all that. But this doesn't bother me at all. Like I said, this is the second edition, by the way. So it comes with the little title card here. Now this is a standard size tarot. You can see with my RWS that it is pretty standard, but it has some fantastic linen cardstock, if you guys can see, and it like moves really well. We'll go into that some more too. But let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so before we get into the cards, we're gonna get real close in, that way you guys can see, because there's so much to these cards. But there are quite a few extra cards. We're going to do a quick flip through of everything, and then we'll come back and talk about those extra cards and do side by sides. So let's dive into this first. Okay, so here we come to the new suit, and then after that will be the other cards. So the ones that you can kind of switch out or leave in or whatever you want to do. So this is the suit of vessels. So this is an added suit, which I am so pumped about, because this is the suit of ether or quintessence. I believe I'm saying that right, quintessence, in alchemy. So the keywords for this suit are awareness, transformation, and rebirth. So now we have represented fire, water, air, earth, and ether. So we have all five kind of coming together. So I really like that. So here is the suit of vessels. Okay, so here we come to our alternate cards. So I'm going to push these to the side, and we are going to talk about these cards side by side. So first we have the Fool and the Fooless. What I thought was really interesting about this is that they said that this Fooless transforms into our Queen of Cups, which I thought was so incredibly awesome, especially because I am very much tied to the Queen of Cups. It's one of my birth cards. It's one of my favorite cards that I kind of look for in a deck as far as the minors go, like my court cards. So having the ability to have the Fooless, the one who goes through all of, the major steps, to also be in the Queen of Cups, having that insight, I thought was really exciting. So I really love this card in the deck. Up next, we have the Magician and the Alchemist. So we have two kind of very different portrayals here. So then we have Fortitude and Strength. So one of our virtues here. I love how we have kind of this Hercules based character with his hand in the lion's mouth, and then we have this Fortitude, which has a docile lion. It's almost on fire here. There are cracked pillars, still kind of talking of that strength, because it makes me think of like the Pillars of Hercules, kind of in both. So I really love this dynamic. So then we have Prudence and the Hanged Man, and I really like this dynamic as well, because we have Prudence here, which is what they said was the personification of Rebus, which is kind of like the balance of both, which is like the man and woman, the feminine and the masculine, kind of all together. So I really love that aspect of this card too, which I feel like you can almost have both in the deck still. You know what I mean? With most of them, I feel like they still bring... It's the same, but it's different. You know what I mean? Like, it's two different feelings for the same card. We have the Three Deaths. I am so intrigued by this. I love this. Again, if you get a chance to just kind of sit and read through their guide online, it is so insightful and it gives you so much information. I haven't read through the whole thing, but I did go and read about death, rebirth, and then the Misery Collector. Now, the Misery Collector, it said that's a bit much, right? Like, if you want to keep this in the deck, that's fine, but I feel like in the same way that they do, this sort of embodies the fear of death, right? Which, I mean, is not bad to have in there. We have kind of the reality of death, the rebirth part of death, which has to do with, don't quote me, but I think they talk about like the putrefaction, and kind of what that means in alchemy when it comes to death, and then kind of that fear, like the ultimate terrifying fear of death. I mean, the atomic bomb is enough to be like, oh my god, you know what I mean? So it's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to the Three Death cards. And then our last major is Temptation and the Devil. Again, another really great read. I love both of these. And we do have, this one is not. This one is a more sexual version, as you can see. Like the temptation, we have people masked here. We have a little more of a sexual theme, kind of that lust that is induced with the devil. And here we have sort of a more traditional idea. And by that, I mean our lovers are there. So you can see our lovers here. And then these same characters are down here, kind of being chained by this devil character, right? So I really like the two dynamics of this as well, because I feel like, again, just like in most of them, they just bring two different feelings when it comes to this card. So now we come to the minors that have alternate cards. And just like on the majors, the minors, when you pull up the guide, goes through what's on the art and why and what has changed on the two cards, on the alternate cards. So it's not just like replicated, like, oh, you like that art or this art, which it can be, but there is a reason to it. And I love, 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 love that they have that. I can't express enough how much I love a guidebook that talks about the choices of the art. Oh my God. Okay, anyway. So for this 5 of Wands, we have boys at play, right? And like they describe, it's like learning how to use their wands, learning how to use these sticks when it comes to battle. Then we have the battle with the boys grown. And it kind of goes to show how you can start at play and then learn how to control this. Learn how to harness that firing power. Learn how to control the impulses while still preparing for battle, but knowing that these opponents are still your friends, right? So it is still at play, and there is kind of a play conflict going on, but it's like this is just playing around, and this is really learning how to control these impulses. How hard can I hit you without hurting you kind of idea. So here we have those two 5 of Wands. On next to the 8 of Wands. So here we're coming down and out, our ideas kind of opening up and moving forward. And then on this 8, it's sort of coming down into this crown. And the way that they described it is like, okay, there is a crown of thorns. There was a challenging time, kind of referencing back to this 7, right? There was a challenging time, but now there is new growth around this crown of thorns. And the skies are now open wide. Again, here they're opening up and coming down. Here they're opening up and going up, right? So there's room for growth and expansion after trying time. So next up is our Page of Wands. So again, we have 2 different stances, 2 different characters here, right? So our first one, we have this page, the wand is in the ground. So it's a little more about that growth, the growth of this kind of creative idea, this fire that's coming in. And you can see that the fire starts here and then is starting to come up at the end of the wand here. So showing that growth and that potential. Whereas in this Page of Wands, it has a more sexual connotation, kind of representing that excitement, right? To a new creative project, that excitement that's kind of pulses through your body, that passion that's all ignited. Everything is ignited here at the bottom. So again, we have 2 different feels here. And then it could even be our same person, because the headdress does look sort of similar, where we have it kind of still flowing with feathers down the back. It could be kind of a similar place of growth here, you know, just starting out and really getting their feet on the ground, right? Now we move on to our 3 of Swords. So we have a very traditional cloudy sky, turbulent sea, 3 of Swords. And then as an alternate, we have a feminine figure, which they kind of account to Mary, so the Virgin Mary. There is all the thorns and then the swords going into her chest. They said that this was mainly to reference that kind of sorrow, the sorrows of Mary, and the turmoil and pain that she went through, and have that kind of all represented, which I I love. And lastly, we have the 7 of coins. Again, I don't know their specific meaning for these because the coins are not up on the guide just yet, but I love this different dynamic, like totally different. Me personally, when I see these two, this does feel like the cultivation, you know, putting in the work, you're growing and things are going well. And this one definitely feels like what you've been trying to cultivate has truly taken over your life. So instead of nurturing the growth, you've allowed it to become an obsession and kind of take over who you are. That's just me at a first glance. All right, so let's get back out here and shuffle, y'all. Oh my gosh, it bends, it moves. I'm obsessed with this cardstock. It has got the best movement. It is like thin enough to be super flexible. So like I feel like it doesn't really have any kind of effort. Like it's effortless shuffling. Because of the way that it bends, it feels like with the type of linen finish that it has on there, that it's really gonna stand up, you know, through the years. Like this is not something that feels like it's going to get a lot of damage from use, which I'm really excited about. All in all, it really flows and moves well. You can fan it, and I'm not a very good fanner. But it is an excellent cardstock. Again, just to make note, mine does have the dots on some of the cards, as well as, I don't know if you can see, a couple of these little black spots that are on the side. But again, it bothers me not. I really am not concerned with it. But seeing this down here, I forgot to show you guys. So there's also a couple of different kind of mythological figures and people of legend that are also kind of snuck into this deck. And right here is supposed to be King Midas with his donkey ears kind of falling off of this Wheel of Fortune, and you can see the money bags down here at the bottom. Oh, can you even see? Am I in the right spot? So that I thought was really neat as well. Let's go ahead and pick a card. Woo! We had one fly out. All right, let's do the King of Swords, and I will read from the guidebook. I'll try to put it here, that way you guys can see. I'll kind of show you what that looks like, and we'll read about it. Okay, so let's do this instead. That way we can see the whole thing. So we are on terravolatile.com, and I am on the guide. So we have a quick little blip about the deck. When you come down, you can go through and click on the alternative cards, kind of learn about that. When you come down, they talk about the minor arcana and the new suit of vessels. Their 7 of coins is up there, but when you click it, it doesn't go to the 7 of coins because they don't have it up yet. And then down here is kind of some trivia. This is where it talks about the fixed and volatile and balance here, as well as some mythological figures. Right here it talks about the Wheel of Fortune with King Midas, and the Fool and the Queen of Cups here. But up at the top, we're going to come back here. It has our majors, the cups, the wands, swords, and vessels for now. So we'll go ahead and click on the swords. And here we will see the element of air, the keywords for the swords. There's also a chart if you come down here to the bottom. It kind of gives you a little upright and reversed keyword chart. But let's go to the King of Swords and take a look at this. So we have King of Swords with the element. This is air of fire. Upright, mental clarity, discipline, integrity. Reversed is oppressive, lack of structure, unethical. So our symbology, meaning, and interpretation, we have upright, mental clarity, discipline, and integrity. Let's go ahead and read this. So in general, the King of Swords is a symbol of discipline and methodology. He is a person who uses logic and intellect, revealing great integrity and diplomacy in his decisions. The scars in his face denote an experiment ruler who learned many lessons that strengthen his spirit and vision. For that reason, he became a fair-minded ruler with clear vision, who takes his responsibilities very seriously. In his hands, the sword and the skull represent the contrasts in the human essence. While the sword pointing upwards is a symbol of his authority as an intellectual wise man, the skull is a common symbol of vanity and ardent desires that we made sure he holds firmly, taking control of those impulses. These two elements are curiously related to the two elements that rule the card. The sword is the air, the mental plan, and the skull is the fire, the passion and dedication, both active in their essence. That idea unveils an interesting connection and balance between thinking with clarity, studying the possibilities, and act according to that for the best outcome. The discipline that the king imposes is well represented by that philosophy, and it clearly affirms his experience as a trustful sovereign. On the other hand, the King of Swords is too rational, stepping away from his emotional side. This perfectionistic attitude may reveal some traces of tyranny in order to get things well organized and to make sure the laws are enforced. Some interpretations suggest that he does not work well outside the routine and within environments poorly structured, where he does not control everything. So reversed, we have oppressive, lack of structure, unethical. The negative attributes of the King of Swords are intensified in the reversed position. We may see an authoritarian person who is cruel sometimes, wanting the enforcement of the law at all costs. His obsession with discipline and control reveal a person that is trying to keep his own structure, oppressing the others. This abusive ruler, contrary to the upright king, is generally irrational and uses his mental skills in an unethical and manipulative way. It is common to see this king exhibiting his intelligence with big words and eloquence only to argue about ordinary and dull things. On the surface, he may look responsible and candid, but he is far from being organized or having good intentions. It could also portray someone who, in fact, is intelligent and likes to show off how smart he is with some frivolous vanity. In terms of real people, it may indicate someone selfish, a lousy boss, or a corrupt politician who exploits his staff disrespectfully. So as you can see, they have quite a bit, and it really does talk about what's going on in this art, which, again, I thoroughly appreciate. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little review of Terra Volatile. I do have the links down below. I know that they are doing another printing. You can get on the mailing list for that. I would highly recommend. It is worth the wait, obviously. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Be sure to smash that like button if you did. Consider subscribing if you're not, and hit that notification bell to get notified of when I post videos every week. So I will talk to you guys very soon. I'm sending you all of my love. Mwah! Later, Gators.